on a stretcher and was taken to the hospital, but Mike McCarthy said this morning that everything looks positive. Trevathan received an unnecessary roughness penalty, but was allowed to stay in the game. Nicholson to Aaron Rodgers and Trevathan after the game.
I was just trying to, make a play. It wasn't intentionally. I was just trying to hustle to the ball, and do my job. And, unfortunately, he ended up hurt. I'm sorry about that, and, I'm going to reach out to him and trying to send him a message because, we play a physical game, but you never wish that on nobody. I don't think it should be a suspension, but never know. I'm just going to send a prayer out. My main concern is that he's okay.
It's really tough to see your teammate not able to move. And, I had kind of a right down the line look at what happened as he was stood up, got hit, kind of something flew out, or there was a mouthpiece or something flew out right away. And you could tell he was in a bad place, in a bad way, that he was probably knocked out. So that's tough. I don't like anybody celebrating when a guy gets carted off the field. That's kind of the message I was conveying to them.
Shannon, what's your take on the hit?
It was unnecessary. It was a very dangerous hit, and I'll be very, very surprised if he doesn't get a minimum of at least 1 game suspension, and more likely it's going to be 2. I know Danny, he played with the Broncos, and for someone his size, he can really thump. You don't think someone that's his size, when you think of linebackers that can thump, you think of a Kinkley, somebody that's 230, or Bobby Wagner, those big guys. But for an undersized guy, he can come downhill on you. I knew he was unconscious. I knew it immediately. Having been very fortunate to play this game, Skip, I never wore a mouthpiece. I had gum in my mouth. But I knew when I was about to hit contact, I would clinch. He knew he was about to take contact, first for the simple fact he has 2 guys on him, and so he's fighting. So you're gritting, like if you're trying to open the door and somebody's holding against you, like you gritting down. For him to take that shot and that mouthpiece to pop out of his mouth like it did, that was some tremendous force.
Yep.
I knew instantly when you take a shot like that to the face or to the side of the jaw, you're going out. And he was unconscious. And it's very, very unfortunate. And if the NFL is serious, these are the type of hits that they're trying to take out of the game.
Yep.
Skip. These are very dangerous. We saw Anquan Bolden get hit something like this a game about 7-8 years ago, and he broke his jaw, and he had to get surgery and had a fracture, orbital fracture also. I don't think Danny's a dirty player, but this was a dirty and unnecessary hit. That's a very dangerous play when you lead with the crown of your helmet and you hit a guy in his face or face on or the side of his jaw. Bad things normally happen. So I would be shocked if he doesn't get at the bare minimum 1 game, but I think it's going to probably be more in line with 2 because he doesn't have a history.
I believe he will get a game, and I do not believe he deserves to be suspended for a game. You know him. I have watched him closely ever since he intercepted Tony Romo in that game back in whatever it was, 2013, the shootout game at Jerry World, 51-48. Tony Romo had thrown for 506, and then he threw it to Danny Trevathan with the game on the line. But I view it as an unfortunately dirty hit by a player with no reputation for ever playing dirty.
Right.
He just plays hard. And I hope people out there can get this. I get it only because I covered the Chicago Bears for the Chicago Tribune for 3 years. And I was shocked, having grown up in the Cowboys-Redskin rivalry. This is the oldest rivalry in pro football.
Oh, yeah.
This is the one that runs deepest. The blood runs, obviously, you got Raiders-Broncos coming up Sunday. That's rivalry.
Ravens,
Steelers. You could certainly argue that one. But this one, even though it's been one-sided in recent history, for a long time, the Bears dominated.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they just don't like each other. There's proximity, because Chicago's right there, very close. It's only about an hour up to Milwaukee from Chicago. And so he was rallying to the ball, and he delivered a blow that he was immediately remorseful about. You could just see him on the field, and he was going back and forth, and it looked like they were jawing at each other, but I think he was telling Aaron, I didn't mean it.
Right.
And I think Aaron acknowledged that he was telling him back, I get it. I know you didn't mean it. But a weird thing happened as the play developed, and that was that, the refs were slow to throw the flag on it because the ball became loose on the ground. And so it looked like the Bears were celebrating the hit. I'm pretty sure, because you see Pernell McPhee, 92, just jumping up, throwing his fist, but he's actually doing that, like, we got the ball. And they were clinging to dear life because it was still 21-7, and they thought that Glennon had one drive that looked decent and scored a touchdown with a nice throw. The rest of the game was a disaster. But the point is, I think Green Bay got upset because it looked like the Bears were celebrating the hit, and they were celebrating a recovered fumble.
The ball came loose, and they thought they had a fumble.
And it took the refs just a second to throw a later flag on what was clearly a 15-yard penalty, and then he's ejected.
Right.
But the point is that because of his lack of reputation for this, if he were a dirty player, if you had branded him a dirty player, like Richard Sherman was doing dirty things last year, and you finally said, well, that proves it, he's just a dirty player.
Right.
Well, Danny Trevathan seems like a nice guy, who's always just played the right way and played hard.
He plays hard. So
every once in a while, you just kind of lose it in a rivalry, and you deliver a blow that's just unwittingly dirty. It's unfortunately dirty, but I think he was just rallying to the ball like they're just trying to keep Aaron Rodgers out of the end zone.
But because he used the crown of his helmet.
He did.
And that's where he...
But he's going to get a game just because of the new way the league is headed.
Right.
We have to stamp this out. Mm-hmm. We have to stand up and say no to these kind of hits.
You're absolutely correct.
He said, I hope I don't get suspended. He's going to try to reach out to Danny Trevathan, Devontae Adams. But again, I don't think less of Danny Trevathan for that.
It's very, you play this game and you know you're going to subject yourself to those kind of hits. And Skip, when I'm not that old, but back that was a clean, they would have never thrown a flag on that.
They would have never thrown a flag.
But the CTE, the $1 billion lawsuit, and the recognition of, parents not wanting their kids to play because of the head trauma and the CTE and all these things going on, the NFL get to a policy on taking these hits out of the game.
Yeah.
I'm going to be, I tweeted immediately, it's hard for me to believe the NFL won't sit him down for at least a game.
Yeah. And the reason that he was a literally defenseless receiver, the unfortunate part of the play is he's being held by two Bears.
Right.
So he can't defend himself at all. He can't move. Right?
Right.
You're stuck. And here it comes, and boom, and then just seeing I think it was his mouth guard flying.
Right. Yeah. Because sometimes, Skip, when people, they got you by the leg and you see a guy coming at you with that clean shot, you go ahead and get down and he go right over the top of you. Yeah. But because the guy's on both sides of it and he's backing up, he can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And then Danny comes in with, the shot. You knew immediately. When a mouthpiece pops out like that, Skip, you got hit with. It's like a boxer. You seen boxers, they're clinching. So when that mouthpiece comes out, you got hit with some kind of force.
And you pretty sure he's out.
Oh yeah, he was out. He was out instantaneous. No questions about it.
God bless him. It sounds like he's going to be
right.
Okay in the big picture.
And plus, he gets they play Thursday, so not only does he get to go to Sunday, he gets all of next week to possibly recover. Yep. But that is, I don't see how Danny avoids a suspension, Skip. I don't see how he does it.
You're probably right.
No, they were calling for the medical staff. He's barely on the ground a second. And to your point, Skip, it is the oldest rivalry in football. It goes back to 1923. So.
And the Packers just took the lead.
Yep.
It's the
Finally.
first time.
Finally. Well, Shannon's Broncos beat the Raiders on Sunday, speaking of rivalries. Skip and Shannon give their picks next. On a stretcher and was taken to the hospital, but Mike McCarthy said this morning that everything looks positive. Trevathan received an unnecessary roughness penalty, but was allowed to stay in the game. Nicholson to Aaron Rodgers and Trevathan after the game.
I was just trying to, make a play. It wasn't intentionally. I was just trying to hustle to the ball, and do my job. And, unfortunately, he ended up hurt. I'm sorry about that, and, I'm going to reach out to him and trying to send him a message because, we play a physical game, but you never wish that on nobody. I don't think it should be a suspension, but never know. I'm just going to send a prayer out. My main concern is that he's okay.
It's really tough to see your teammate not able to move. And I had kind of a right down the line look at what happened as he was stood up, got hit, something flew out, whether there was a mouthpiece or something flew out right away. And you could tell he was in a bad place, in a bad way, that he was probably knocked out. So that's tough. I don't like anybody celebrating when a guy gets carted off the field. That's kind of the message I was conveying to them.
Shannon, what's your take on the hit?